Hey, good morning everyone. This is Justin with the Weather Center of Manitoba, coming to you from Brandon, Manitoba with another daily weather update here. It's January 5th and it's still a very cold day across much of the province, and we're going to jump into this video by once again checking out our Mesonet portal. And again, this is a portal that shows us current temperature values across all of Canada, but of course we're going to hone in here on our home province of Manitoba. And let's just check out some temperatures across the south. We can see that Steinbach is in at a temperature of minus 21 currently, or sorry, minus 28. And we got Brandon in at about minus 32. Melita, the far southwest corner, minus 32 as well. And as we check up into the Parklands region, we got Wasagaming at minus 32. And we have Dauphin in at about minus 28. And then Roblin's in at minus 26, so very chilly. East of Brandon here at the Carberry station, it's minus 35.4 at the time of recording this at 6:40 a.m. We can move eastward here and check out Portage. Portage is in at minus 27 at 6:40. Down towards Morden and Winkler, we can see they're at minus 26, so very similar temperatures across much of the south. Winnipeg at the Forks is reporting a temperature of minus 25 at 6:40. And then we can head up into our Interlake region here, and Fisher Branch is minus 29. Swan River's at about minus 29 as well. And as we check up towards Northern Manitoba, Grand Rapids is very cold at a minus 33. The Paw is at minus 31. You can check out Thompson at minus 30. Lynn Lake's in at minus 25. Tadouli Lake's at minus 25, and Churchill's in at a temperature of minus 27 at 6:40 a.m. So very similar temperatures across much of the province. We were seeing numbers anywhere between minus 26 towards minus 33. So not a huge contrast from north to south, but just everybody's experiencing some very cold temperatures once again to start off Sunday morning on January 5th. We can once again go in and see where our extreme cold warnings are currently in effect. We can actually see that in contrast from yesterday morning, Northern Manitoba has now been dropped from the extreme cold warnings, but they remain in effect for areas across the Interlake and the remainder of Southern Manitoba. And in fact, this was just updated at 6:14 a.m., so about half an hour ago before recording this video. And the right up here says extreme wind chill values near minus 40 continue this morning and likely throughout much of the day Sunday. The bitterly cold weather will continue to moderate from west to east this weekend, with all extreme cold warnings to be ended by Sunday mid-morning. So Environment Canada does expect all these extreme cold warnings to be ended province-wide by the middle of Sunday morning. But once again, extreme cold puts everyone at risk. Dress warmly, dress in layers that you can remove if you get too warm. The outer layer should be wind resistant. Thankfully, there's not a lot of wind going on this morning, at least across southern Manitoba. If we go back to our Mesonet portal here, we can see that Melita's in calm conditions this morning, Carberry's in at calm conditions, and up through the western Manitoba is in calm conditions. Whenever you look and you see this little circle with a dot in the middle, that indicates that the winds are calm. And even across the remainder of the rest of southern Manitoba, we see there may be a slight northwest wind, but generally in that 5 to 10 kilometers per hour range. So not very gusty. Winnipeg, as an exception, the winds are a little bit stronger there. We can go in and actually look at what our wind speed is, and in at about 11 kilometers an hour, so not too bad. But when you have a temperature of minus 25 in Winnipeg with an 11 kilometer an hour wind, it will get fairly chilly with our wind chill. So let's hop into some model data here. This is our RDPS model, our latest RDPS model, showing our 2-meter temperature outlook. You can see it's doing a good job this morning of calculating our temperatures across the south. Again, it has the Westman region in at temperatures between minus 33 and minus 35, which was fairly accurate looking at our Mesonet portal. It has Winnipeg in a little bit cooler than, in a little bit of a cooler temperature than they're currently at on the Mesonet portal at -32, but it is only 6:40. There's still another 2 to 3 hours where our temperatures could drop a little bit further toward the -30 value there in Manitoba's capital city of Winnipeg. As we continue through time here, we can see that our temperatures do moderate a little bit throughout the day. We're looking at about a highs of about -20 to -25 across southwest Manitoba. A little bit cooler across the Red River Valley. It shows Winnipeg in at a high of about -27, possibly even up towards -25, but it probably won't get much warmer than -25 across the Red River Valley throughout the rest of the day. Across our parklands region up in western Manitoba, we see it's a little bit warmer. Dauphin's in at -17, and then we got Swan River at a value of -20. But generally still pretty cold across the north as well, with temperatures struggling to get past that -20 mark. And as we get through the overnight period, temperatures dip once again, fairly chilly across southern and southeastern Manitoba. Looks like a low of about -30 in Brandon and -31, -32 in Winnipeg and the Red River Valley. But then we see our temperatures moderate by Monday morning across the south. We see Monday we could be in for a high of about -16, -14 to -16 across the south. But across the north it's very cold. We got the far north, including Churchill and Tadoule Lake, in at temperatures struggling to get past the -30 to -35 mark. And as we go through overnight, Monday into Tuesday morning, we see very cold across the far north. Temperature values dipping toward -40 in Churchill, and that's just the air temperature. That's not factoring in any wind chill. So we'll be seeing extreme cold warnings likely being reissued across far north and northeastern Manitoba as we get into Tuesday morning. And then if we look, we can really see our temperatures start to moderate, especially through Alberta and into western Saskatchewan, as we get more of a westerly flow, which will be bringing in that warmth from British Columbia, which is really good because we've been locked into quite a cold pattern here across the eastern prairies, including our province of Manitoba. So it is nice that we're going to be seeing some of those temperatures begin to moderate through the early part of this week, and especially as we get into the mid part of the week, we can look at our temperature story Wednesday. This is Wednesday at about noon. We see that areas off to our west, we are seeing some temperature values above the freezing mark through Alberta and Saskatchewan. Here across Manitoba, we're seeing the Parklands region -5 or warmer. Brandon at -8 at about noon on Wednesday. And the rest of our province starts to warm up as well, with temperatures should be breaking that -20 mark, which is really good as we get a bit of an Alberta clipper pushing through. We can go through and see what we're expecting for precipitation over the next 3 days. Here's currently our high pressure that is over southern Manitoba. You can see it's a strong high pressure system, 1045 millibars, which is a very strong low pressure system, but it starts to weaken and move stateside. And then we see that we still do expect a little bit of a few snow flurries across southern Manitoba throughout the day Monday, but it's not a lot. It's hardly showing up here on the map. And we have another quick push of high pressure Tuesday morning. And then we can see we have an Alberta clipper that pushes through that is affecting parts of the Northwest Territories. Here you can see a 944 millibar low way north of the prairies. But you can see what it's doing. It's bringing in that westerly flow. You can see all these squiggly lines on the map. Those are isobars. So we're going to have some pretty gusty winds throughout Wednesday. But it's going to be more of a westerly southwest wind, which is going to be bringing that warm air in from Alberta and parts of Western Canada across toward Manitoba and the eastern prairies. You can see that it will bring some snow across northern and central Manitoba throughout the day Wednesday. In terms of our snowfall accumulations, we can look at that quickly as well. And we see some snow flurries coming across the north later tonight, and then we can see that it's not going to be a lot, though. It's going to be 2 to 3 centimeters of snow across the north, and then we see the snow flurries across southern Manitoba through Monday afternoon is only going to be bringing about 1 to 3 centimeters of snow, and it may not even be strong enough to even reach Winnipeg and the Red River Valley and parts of eastern Manitoba. But then as we get in toward Tuesday night into Wednesday, we see that Alberta Clipper system brings a little bit more snow across northern Manitoba, with potentially about 10 centimeters just to the south of Thompson by Wednesday evening. But that's still a few days out. It's going to be watched, but in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're not expecting a lot of snow across Manitoba as a whole. Nothing really significant. So the last thing I wanted to show you was our European model, and this are 850 millibar temperatures, and this is just showing what our general pattern is going to be over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. And you can see that, you know, we're still locked into the cold right now, but you can see as we go through time, especially as we get into Wednesday, you can see here's our system, and here's our big push of warm air from BC going into Alberta and then eventually flooding into the eastern prairies by Wednesday. You can see that our temperatures have finally moderated into Thursday as well, and that trend generally keeps going as we get later in the week into the weekend as well. May get a little bit of a cool down next weekend once again, but I think our temperatures will still be fairly warm compared to what we've been dealing with over the last few days. And then we see once again another pretty warm push of air here entering Alberta and Saskatchewan Wednesday, January 15th, so mid next week. And then that warm air reaches Manitoba by Thursday of next week and into Friday. You can see that's quite a warm temperature pattern we have here going into the latter part of next week. And then we see there is some kind of strong Alberta Clipper that appears to migrate from west to east across the prairies later next week into next weekend. And then you can see, look at all this cold air that floods in once again as we get into the latter part of next weekend. And then going into 2 weeks from now, you can see that the floodgates of Arctic air seems to want to open up again across Western Canada and the eastern prairies, including Manitoba. So it looks like we'll get about a week and a half of temperatures moderating, maybe even slightly above seasonal, a few days here and there. But then we do see that the cold pattern will be coming back as we get toward the January 20th period. So that's the update I have for you this morning. Yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, like the video, leave us a comment if you enjoyed it, and also click that subscribe button. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Sunday, everyone.